Hello, true believers. Welcome to my channel, Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave, and today I have a special episode, all Star Wars. All right, so Star Wars Celebration is coming up this weekend for 2020, and that's Star Wars' version of their con. So it's all online this year, of course, because of the pandemic. But that could lead to being more panelists, more people chiming in, surprise visits from people that possibly couldn't have physically gone to a con themselves. So there could be some good points to that. It's not the same. I know it's not the same, but there still could be some good points to the online stuff. Mostly what we're interested in is the announcements they're going to make. Like, hopefully we're going to see some stuff, some more footage from The Mandalorian season 2 would be really cool. Maybe we'll get some news about different streaming shows. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming up, Cassie and Andor's coming up. Maybe they've been hinting around about some other stuff that's going on. The Mandalorian season 1 was the most streamed show of all time. Really made a moneymaker for Disney, so they are hot on Star Wars right now. They have got big plans for Star Wars over the next 10 years, and Star Wars fans are excited. Comic book fans are excited because there's so much that's going to connect into the comics. The comics are now considered canon. Their storylines are going to feed into the movies, into the novels. Everything's going to be put together. So, hopefully, we'll get some announcements around that, some more hints about what's coming up, some more footage about what stuff has already been filmed. So, excited about it. Let's get started. So the first book on our list is from a property that we know is coming, and it is super cheap, and it's overlooked all the time. There is a Cassie and Andor and K2SO are going to have their own streaming show on Disney. I think there's 10 episodes or 12 episodes that are slated to be filmed. It could be really cool. We all know that Cassie and Andor was a rebel, but more like, going underground, doing crazy terrorist stuff, pretty harsh stuff in the name of the rebels. And I think it could really, be good. And K2SO was so funny. So their first appearance comes in this comic book. It's from 2017, and it is Rogue One, a Star Wars story film adaptation. I know you've seen this one before. You probably passed over it. But if that show starts getting more known, more people are starting to see about it, the general public's starting to see about it, and it looks cool, and the actors are all reprising their same roles, so it's the same ones from the films. It could be a really cool show for 10 episodes. And this is both of their first appearance here, and it is a $5 book, right? You can find this, well, or less, right? Cover price or less for this book in mint condition. Don't bother going on eBay. Go to your LCS. They probably have some in their back bins. It is cheap. It's still cheap if you do need to get it on eBay. That's no problem. But there is a streaming show centered around the first appearance of these two characters, and nobody's paying attention to it, right? $5 for that book, and we'll see. Because for sure. So from 2017, Rogue One Star Wars adaptation, right? First appearance of Cassie and Andor, first appearance of K2SO, right? Look to pay about $5 or less for that guy. Another streaming show that we know for sure is coming up. There's Ewan McGregor's responded on it and says things are still a go, everything's a go. We were just doing a little reworking with the scripts because they have extra time because of the pandemic, and then they're going to start filming right away. And everybody is hot to try for that one because, man, we all want a streaming show with Jedi in it, right? Like, give me some Jedi stuff. I like bounty hunters. Don't get me wrong. Mandalorian was great, but give me some Jedi. I want to see some lightsaber action fights. So Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming up. Ewan McGregor's coming back, right? And he's like the perfect age to kind of play Obi-Wan Kenobi when he's in between, what happened at the end of Revenge of the Sith and what happened at the beginning of A New Hope, right? And there's some stuff that happens in there in the Clone Wars and whatnot, but basically he is on Tatooine at this point. He's a Jedi, right? I mean, Mos Eisley is a den of scum and villainy. Do you think he just went into a cave and hung out and did nothing, just watched Luke from a distance with binoculars? Heck no. And one of the stories that whole show could be based off of comes from, let me get my note. Of course, it comes from 2017, and it is Star Wars #7. Okay, and this has a one-off story in it where Luke finds Obi-Wan's diary, and he reads the story about adventure he had while he was overlooking Luke when he was a kid, right? He's a full Jedi Knight, and these guys are. This planet is being controlled by gangsters. It's like a lot of like smugglers and ne'er do wells, and there's sand people, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. He's not just gonna hide in a cave and do nothing, right? He's not just gonna keep an eye on Luke, and that's all he's gonna do. He's a Jedi Knight. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's like the good of the goodest Jedi Knights, right? He's Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Of course, he's gonna try and save people and stop stuff. I think it more like an equalizer kind of vein where he's like going out and helping individuals and stuff. Anyway, could be really cool, and it could very well be based around this story, which is what Obi-Wan does. He like goes to Mos Eisley and kicks some butt. Anyway, so from 2017, Star Wars #7. Look to pay cover price or less for this book. It is still cheap, cheap, cheap. There are some variant covers for this as well. They're all cheap, but I think it's worth paying the $5 to grab a book that may actually have a huge storyline, streaming show based around it. Anyways, so like I said, 2017, Star Wars #7. Look to pay around $5. So this one's more speculative. There's been no confirmation of this kind of show, but everybody's been talking about Dr. Aphra, right? And her first appearance is ballooned in price quite a bit. If you know the backstory for Aphra, you also know that she has a partner, basically, and it would be really weird to do an Aphra show without seeing this character in it. And she makes her first appearance from 2017 in Star Wars series, and it is Star Wars #4. Okay, and that has the first appearance of Sana Staros, or Sana Solo at first, because she was pretending that she was one of Han's wives, but it wasn't true. It was just a ruse. Anyways, as the story goes along, she ends up helping Aphra, and then winds up actually dating Aphra. Right? They become a couple, a romantic couple together. So she was very, very connected to Aphra, and like I said, it'd be very weird if they had this sort of streaming show with Aphra and not see Sana in there as well, right? Like they were, quite close together even through the stories and whatnot. Like I said, they were, in a romantic relationship together, which does play into the Disney narrative as well. So, and she's a person of color, so very much playing into the Disney narrative. I'd be very surprised if they had any kind of Aphra property and Sana didn't show up. Okay, so from 2017, that's Star Wars #4. First appearance of Sana Staros, or Sana Solo if you like. Look to pay $5 or cover price or less for this one for a mint condition copy raw, right? No problem getting that book. Okay, so for this next pick, let's talk bounty hunters. We know that Mandalorian season 2 is coming up. Hopefully they'll have some more footage this weekend. The only character we know, like new character that we know is confirmed for the season 2 is Ahsoka Tano, right? And Dave Filoni, who was the head writer of the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, who, if you haven't watched those, I highly recommend watching them. They really pay off, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. He mentioned that there was a few characters from those shows that he never got to kind of complete their story, and that if the Clone Wars had gone on longer, he would have used different scripts to help complete those stories. Of course, he had to wrap everything up, and then he moved on to The Mandalorian, which turned out to be amazing because he's such a good Star Wars writer. I mean, the Clone Wars and Rebels do really pay off. But this character is a bounty hunter from those shows, and he actually survives, right? He makes it past Rebels. We don't know what happens to him, but we have no death scene, so he actually, one of the characters that survives. He's a bounty hunter. He's got connections to Boba Fett, and lots of connections with Dave Filoni, who's also writing, season 2. And his first appearance comes, and it is also from 2017. We get a lot of 2017 Star Wars stuff, and it is from Darth Maul #2. All right, and that is the first appearance of a character known as Cad Bane. So Cad Bane is a badass bounty hunter. He can even take on Jedi and win. you know, they're going to do a lot more bounty hunter stuff, you know, around the Mandalorian since he is a bounty hunter, and they're obviously, you know, expand that whole as they expand that world, different characters will come in. This guy never got a resolve, so I think Dave Filoni could very well put him into, you know, one of the Mandalorian seasons, even if it's not the next season. You can find this book for $5 or less. It's, you know, I've seen people asking crazy prices. Don't pay crazy prices. When you look at, you know, how, you know, what the average price of it's selling for, around $5 is what it's selling for. But it could be appearance of a major character, Cad Bane, and he's a bounty hunter and he's badass, and it's cool to have his first appearance in anyway as well. So this one flies way under the radar and really should get picked up because cheap right now, possible good Star Wars character. Like I said, they've got plans for the next 10 years of what they're going to do with Star Wars movies, novels, comics, everything. It's a whole thing called Project Luminous, and it's all kind of fitting together where they put novels, comics, movies, streaming shows all in continuity with one another. Anyways, so Cad Bane, I think, is a very good candidate to show up at some point, especially in The Mandalorian, since he is a bounty hunter. And like I said, he makes his first appearance here in 2017's Darth Maul #2. Now, don't get confused with The Son of Dathomir. That's a different Darth Maul story, much more expensive, but that's not this. This was a limited series that he was in. And yeah, cheap right now, cheap, but it could see quite a jump if Cad Bane does show up in some way. Another character that didn't quite get their resolve, and a character that Dave Filoni has mentioned, you know, not, you know, regretting not being able to resolve this character's story arc as, you know, a big regret in what he in the Clone Wars and in Legacy and in Rebels, and that's her first appearance. Comes from 2003. It's a Dark Horse comic, and it is Star Wars Jedi Mace Windu. All right, it's kind of a one-shot, right? And it is the first appearance of Asajj Ventress, right? I would expect, you know, Asajj, very, very good chance of showing up. Highly connected, one of Dave Filoni's favorite characters to put in. Was originally created by in the original Clone Wars by Grandy Tatakovsky. I always have trouble saying his name. Same guy did Powerpuff Girls and Samurai Jack. If you haven't watched that Clone Wars, it's fun. It's crazy. The lightsaber fight between Anakin and Asajj Ventress, one of the best lightsabers in all Star Wars properties. Anyways, her first appearance shows up here. Very good chances that she could come. Now, this was a low print run. Under 20,000 were ordered by retailers. Unknown how many of those got destroyed, how many are still in, you know, nice collectible condition. This is a really nice mint condition one. I paid $85 for this one, right? Had to do my shopping. It took me a little while to find a good copy of it. But that's about the going price of it right now. The moment that she sees an appearance, man, this book is going to shoot up, because she's extremely popular character as well. Now, there was a novel, Dark Disciple, that kind of resolved what she was doing, and that was kind of based on some scripts from the Clone Wars that didn't get used. But I'm unsure whether they're considering that canon or Dave Filoni wants to, you know, use Asajj in a property. She could easily slide into The Mandalorian because after Star Wars Rebels, she became a bounty hunter. She grew out her hair, and she became like one of the most feared bounty hunters in the galaxy. I mean, can use dark force magic and dark force, and she's on the dark side, and she has lightsabers skills, and nobody escaped her, right? So she became a bounty hunter. She's very, very connected with Boba Fett and his crew, right? Which also included Bossk and a couple of other characters that could very well show up in The Mandalorian. But I think Asajj Ventress has a very, very good chance of showing up. And, you know, this is a little more of an expensive book if you want to take the risk on it or not. But it's going to cost you around about $80 for a nice clean copy. Now, I still think this book has a lot of potential to grow. Very low print run. Very few ordered by retailers, much less than, say, Ahsoka Tano's first appearance in Clone Wars #1. So if you want to take the risk, I personally took it. I think it's still a good choice, but it's up to you. A little bit more of an expensive book than I usually put on my shows, but look to pay around 85 to $100 for this guy, right? From 2003, the Jedi Mace Windu one shot from Dark Horse, first appearance of Asajj Ventress. All right. Okay, so the last book on our list, and it's a fairly new book. It came from 2020. It's only a few months old. A lot of people are speculating on a different book in this series, but I think this one is going to be much more important. There's a showrunner. Her name is Leslie Headland, and she has been talking about the development of a show. It's based in an era that we've never seen before, that's female centric, and combining that with the idea of Project Luminous, I came up with this character's first appearance. And her first appearance comes from 2020's The Rise of Kylo Ren #3. Okay, so everybody's speculating on #1 because it has the first appearance of the Knights of Ren in it, which I don't think is as big a deal as having a first appearance of what could be a major protagonist in a series, right? Especially a Jedi series should be really popular. She comes from the High Republic, and that is Ivar Kriss. Okay, so the High Republic happened 200 years before A New Hope. And so that's an era we've never seen. This is when the Jedi were at the height of their power. The whole thing is supposedly revolves around Ivar Kriss, female-centric, era we've never seen before, right? Very cool, more Jedi. Now, she only makes a cameo appearance in this book, but this is her only appearance in any book, okay? So there's no other appearances for her in anything. I think it's a great spec. You can still find this book for around the $5 to $10 mark, depending. Like I said, everybody's trying to grab up #1 because of the Knights of Ren, but they're really missing out on the fact that Ivar Kriss could very well lead a High Republic series. There's a series of books, of novels already coming out. That's part of Project Luminous, and they've already said they're going to tie books in with streaming shows and movies and such. So Ivar Kriss, I think, is a really, really good chance of getting. And I think getting this book for $5 to $10 right now is a steal, right? It could end up turning out to be quite an expensive book. The series keeps, just in general, keeps going up in price, but #3, #4 kind of fly into that radar. #2 is the first mention of the High Republic, but this is the first cameo appearance, only appearance known to so far of Ivar Kriss. All right, very good spec pick. From 2020, the Rise of Kylo Ren, #3, first appearance of Ivar Kriss, a Jedi Knight from the High Republic. I think it's got a real good chance of being pulled off and turned into a streaming show. Whew, so that was quite a few books. Like I said, we had to cut this up into 2 parts. Hopefully we'll get some more Star Wars news this weekend from Star Wars Celebration. Hopefully we'll get some more footage from The Mandalorian and some more news about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Could be really great, could be disappointing. Who knows what's coming. I just know that, people are starting to get back into production swing. Stuff's starting to get rolling again. Star Wars is red hot right now, and buy your Star Wars comics now while they're still cheap. There's so many of these Star Wars comics that are, pushing way above the $100 mark already. Not these ones that we picked out, but there's so many Star Wars comics that are way pushing above the $100 mark. So grab these ones up before they start seeing, a big realization of value. Remember, there are Star Wars fans out there that just collect Star Wars comics, who are just big fans of the Clone Wars and want all those first appearances and such. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this special. Let's see what happens this weekend at Star Wars Celebration. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.